The Beekeeper is Jason Statham's newest action flick. Listen, you watch these kind of movies for one thing and one thing only, to watch Jason Statham kick some ass, and oh boy does he do a lot of that in this movie. Pretty much the story is Adam Clay is a former secret operator called a beekeeper, after a friend and neighbor gets stolen from by a phishing scam making her lose millions. Clay sets out to extract revenge against the company responsible for it. It's a simple revenge story, and that's all I really need for a movie like this. Kurt Wimmer wrote this one, and you may know his other works such as Equilibrium, Ultraviolent, Law-Abiding Citizen, Salt, Total Recall 2012, and Point Break 2015. This is also directed by David Ayer, who made some good movies such as Hard Times, End of Watch, and also Fury. I always like in movies where a main character is a part of some covert ops secret organization that's off the books. Sure, Jason plays relatively the same kind of character in almost all of his movies, but honestly, who cares? That's what I watch his movies for. To see him take down tons of dudes in brutal and badass ways, all while looking like an unstoppable force. I will say though, I am pretty shocked that he does get pretty banged up, at least near the end of the movie in this one, because normally he goes into movies and comes out of them pretty unscathed. That being said, this movie is rated R, and while there are some decent deaths and violent scenes, I do wish it was a little bit more violent. He could have done a lot more, but he also does avoid killing a lot of law enforcement, and that also happens to be most of his enemies in this movie. But when it comes to the other bad guys, he could have messed them up a lot more. We do see some brutal deaths, but it felt like they were kind of censoring their own selves because they hint at him doing some brutal kills, but then he stops himself. It's almost like they wanted to be more violent, but for whatever reason they held back. The fight scenes in this movie are plentiful, and it's almost like after every major scene in this, there is a fight scene or some type of action scene going on. If Statham is in an action movie, then you know you're gonna get some quality action, and this movie is no exception. There were so many cool takedowns, using his environment to his advantage while fighting enemies and also taking on multiple enemies at once. Listen, I get it, some people might not like their heroes going virtually unhurt throughout the movie, but you know what you're getting yourself into when you sign up for these kind of movies. The acting was pretty decent in this one. I like the FBI agents, even though the girl didn't seem too worked up about what happened, even though I do understand, you know, you kind of have to go on your quest for revenge instead of just sitting around and sulking the whole time. Josh Hutcherson plays your standard rich boy who can't do anything for himself, so he has to hire a bunch of people to protect him, but I'm just glad that he wasn't annoying in this. David Witt plays one of Josh's salesmen in this movie, and he honestly looks like a Walmart version of Drake Bell. I liked how they kept this whole theme of bees and how they act in nature with the whole like how the organization is. But I do wish we got more information on what beekeepers are and the organization in themselves. We only really get to see like slight glimpses of the organization in the movie. I know he's retired, but still. They also sent another beekeeper after him to take him out, but this person seemed way too reckless and not even close to being on the same level as he was. Adam Clay also wears this really weird hat throughout most of the movie that looks way too big for his head, or he just has it like almost off of his head. I don't know why they did this, but it looked really goofy. I do like how stealthy he is, and he can pretty much get into almost anywhere that he wants, or he just kind of like walks right in. It's pretty funny. Speaking of which, there are some funny bits in this movie, but it's not distracting whatsoever. In all, this movie gave me a decent story to follow, some great choreography, some awesome action, and it was just very entertaining throughout the whole thing. This is why I give The Beekeeper an 8.5 out of 10. If you guys like this review, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more, hit that follow button. And as always, thanks for watching.